Shop and get great savings from the one that gives you real value always. TM Pick and Pay. It's time for the news.
You are watching Sunday Edition live on ZBC. Thank you for joining us. I am Yvonne Mokondani. Susan Masona gives us the bulletin in sign language.
And I'm Liam Bernard with Marilyn Gwenya will join us much later from our Montreux studio. These are our leading stories tonight.
The Mangwe community has described the late national hero, Kermit Maketi Ndebele, as an epitome of patriotism.
In our I'm an African feature tonight, we celebrate an African environmental champion, Dr. Wangari Maathai, who initiated the Green Belt movement, whose impact transcended borders.
And in our This and That feature, our reporter Courage Boucher explores the myths and beliefs around Buhwa Mountain, where mountain fires signal the rains.
Something to look forward to tonight, Yvonne. I'm also interested.
Are you?
In knowing about these myths. In a sports buzz, FC Platinum failed to reclaim a top spot in the Premier Soccer League after they were edged 1-0 by Caps United.
You really sound excited. Caps United fan?
No. These and other stories to come, but first we start off with the main news.
The late national hero, Comrade Maketi Ndebele, whose Chimurenga Umvugela name was Comrade Jack Mpofu, has been described as an epitome of patriotism. His body was taken to his rural home in Mangwe, Matebelele in South Province this Sunday morning, flown back to Bulawayo for a church service, and is now in Harare ahead of burial on Monday.
A somber atmosphere engulfed the Chichi community of Mangwe district in Matebelele South as they bid farewell to one of their own, the former Zipra military supremo, Comrade Maketi Ndebele, whose Chimurenga name was Comrade Jack Mpofu. Speaker after speaker, the community described the late national hero as an epitome of patriotism.
Abakondebele kwakhanya ukuthi silahlekelwe kakhulu iqhawe elidumile la kuhulumende.
Silahlekelwe kakhulu. Futhi okwesabisa mahlahlekelwa umnwethu ongumbusi.
Ngilokudana okukhulu kakhulu. Ngojeki ngesikhathi engahlala ngaso laye ngendlela abasithandana ngayo singama comrades, but namhlanje kuyasidabula kakhulu. Kubulele lesigaba.
uJackie wangitrainer lapho engatrainer khona mina imembership second group ngicamp commander ngumkhulu wenkamba yena leyo sihlala khona.
The local leadership is convinced that Comrade Mpofu's contribution was immense for the liberation of the country.
Njengephathi iZANU-PF sithanda ukuthi sibonge ubaba upresident his excellency uDr. Idi Mnangagwa ngokuthi asinike isicoco esikhulu esikababa ubaba uMpofu ukuthi abe yi-national hero.
Ubaba uMnangagwa wabona kufanele kuqhakathekile ukuthi ama-zebra commanders must be respected, bahlonitshwe njalo. Wabuya elesipho ngangaphambanisi uqala kwalonyaka kumbe uphela kwalonyaka komnyaka odluleyo. Wanikezwa inyawo ama-zebra commanders abanengi. Labana beleminwe echekileyo baqasa ukukhuluma kungayisikho. Yikutshengisa ukuthi umongameli wethu uyahlonipha abalweli benkululeko. Namhlanje sila semnikile njalo isicoco sokuba yi-national hero.
The board of the late national hero, Comrade Maketi Ndebele, has arrived in Harare this Sunday evening, where it will lie in state for burial this Monday. The Director Police Planning in the Ministry of Home Affairs, Mr. Mike Masaka, gave us an update.
Okay, I wish to inform the nation that we are ready to give a dignified send-off to our national hero tomorrow. The body has just arrived at Manyame Air Base. From here, we are taking the body to Charles Gumbo Barracks, where it will lie in state in preparation for tomorrow's program. We are encouraging members of the public to be seated by 7 a.m. And I wish also to indicate that His Excellency the President will preside over the burial.
Comrade Ndebele, who was ZIPRA's deputy chief of training during the liberation struggle, succumbed to an asthma attack on Saturday last week. He was 82. Comrade Ndebele will be buried tomorrow at the National Shrine.
And our local mining giant Zimplats is undergoing a massive expansion to the tune of 1.8 billion United States dollars over a 10-year period. This was revealed when a SADC Secretariat delegation accompanied by government ministries and members from the business fraternity toured the company's operations in Mondoro this Friday.
The visit to Zimplats operations in Ngezi by the SADC delegation comes after the conclusion of the SADC Industrialization Week, which is a precursor to the SADC Summit of Heads of State and Government. Led by the Deputy Minister of Commerce and Industry, Honorable Raji Modi, the delegation had an opportunity to get an insight into production capacity of the mining giant.
What this company is doing unique, they have a very good program for the social responsibility. They're helping the community. It shows that they're not only here to make money, but they're looking after our own community also as well. And they have quite a few programs they are working with it to upbring the community, which is very, very good. And I think I'll urge every miners here in Zimbabwe, those big companies, they can do something like that. We'll have a big difference in our community.
Zimplats Managing Director Dr. Stanley Segula said the company is undergoing an expansion drive to the tune of over 1.8 billion United States dollars over a 10-year period.
We've gone through 2 phases and we're undergoing the 3rd phase at the moment, where the board approved to the tune of about 1.8 billion US dollars over the next 10 years. And at the moment we are rolling out projects. An expanded project smelter is on the way, a solar generation plant is on the way. We are upgrading mines, and we recently commissioned a 3rd concentrator here. This is an outfit which is growing, which has been growing over the years.
Dr. Segula also underscored the pivotal role which the SADC Industrialization Week has played in enhancing trade relations in the region.
You can see from the delegation which is here, there's also external delegates who are seeing the opportunities and would like to think that probably it also boosts opportunities for local investment.
Meanwhile, the Zimplats tour ran concurrently with another one at Sitco in Mount Habden. Tamuka Charakupa, ZBC News, Ngezi.
Harare residents and motorists say government's vision 2030, that of an upper middle income society, is achievable, judging by government's efforts to rehabilitate roads in high-density suburbs.
Driven by the urgent need to address the country's poor road network, which had been neglected for years due to ineptitude and corruption by urban councils, government launched the Emergency Road Rehabilitation Program in 2021. The ambitious effort has yielded significant results, with numerous roads in both high and low density suburbs being constructed and rehabilitated. The ZBC News visited high density suburbs, which include Zivarasekwa, Kambuzuma and Warren Park, to witness firsthand the transformative impact of government's road rehabilitation blitz on these communities.
Aiwa tiri kufara zvikuru, mugwagwa wagadzirwa wanaka, wamushengenene chaiwo zvekuti hurumende yaita basa.
Road yange yakafa, saka tiri kutofara road kugadzirwa kwaitwa.
Zvamaita zvinodadisa zvinotendeka. Road yange yakafa kwemakore. Nhasi uno tiri kufara zvakanyanyisa. Ngazviwe zvichiitwa kwese kunzvimbo dzese.
Tichichotya kufamba nenyaya yemakomba unga murodhi.
Contractors have also added their voice in support of the government's vision.
Our scope of work is to do the overlay of a new asphalt mix that we are doing. So far we are almost 4.5 kilometers, our road is 5.1. So we are now at almost 93 to 94% of complete of our road.
These developments coincide with the government's recent announcement to expand the road rehabilitation initiative to rural areas. Peter Chivima, ZBC News, Harare.
The Zimbabwe Defense Forces is set to hand over several infrastructure development projects to communities across the country during its annual Community Assistance Week.
A busy week has commenced for the Zimbabwe Defense Forces, which will from this Monday until Friday be handing over various projects to communities during its Community Assistance Week, traditionally held just before the Zimbabwe Defense Forces Day. Since last year, the Zimbabwe National Army and the Air Force of Zimbabwe undertook 29 projects, with 9 of them complete and ready to be handed over to communities during the ZDF Community Assistance Week. The week will be officially launched in Harare Metropolitan at Kwadzana 2 High School on August 5, when Minister of Defense Opamuchinguri Kashiri will hand over a single-story administration block. In Matabeleland North, Deputy Minister of Defense Brigadier General Retired Levi Maihlome will hand over 2 classroom blocks at Chino Secondary School in Cholocho District. In the Midlands Province, Permanent Secretary for Defense Comrade Aaron Nepera will hand over a classroom block at Sungai Primary School in Nembozia, Kokwe North. In Manicaland Province, Commander ZDF General Philip Valerio Swanja will hand over 2 classroom blocks at the new site of St. Charles Luanga Secondary School in Chimanimani District. In the same province, Commander Zimbabwe National Army Lieutenant General Anselm Sanyatwe will hand over a classroom block at Samanyika Primary School in Donjo, Nyamaropa, Nyanga North. Commander Air Force of Zimbabwe Air Marshal Jacob John Njede will hold a groundbreaking ceremony for the construction of Danger Clinic in Rusape, Manicaland. In addition to the handing over of completed projects, the ZDF medical teams, in conjunction with the Ministry of Health and Childcare, will conduct free outreach medical assistance programs at Sipepa Clinic in Cholocho, Matabeleland North, Sonzo Clinic in Mutasa, and Danger Clinic in Rusape. Festus Mgongorose, ZBC News, Harare.
Recommendations for President Emmerson Mnangagwa to remain in office until 2030 continue to come in light of the notable developmental projects which he kick-started across the country.
Thousands of ZANU-PF leaders from across Mashonaland Central Province's 8 districts gathered for a provincial inter-district meeting in Bindura this Saturday, with the party's different wings recommending that President Mnangagwa continues to lead the ruling party until 2030.
Se-Women's League ema-Central tiri kuti baba vaMnangagwa ngavasvike 2030 vaone vision yavo yavakatanga nayo vagoiona ichibudirira.
Isu seMashonaland Central Province takamirira vechidiki takatenderana kuti baba Mnangagwa 2030 vanenge vachingotonga.
ZANU-PF Mashonaland Central Province Chairperson Comrade Kazembe Kazembe highlighted that the success of Vision 2030 hinges on the visionary leadership of President Mnangagwa.
Isu shefu seMashonaland Central tiri kuti aiwa tikuona kwatiri kuenda tiri munzira yeVision 2030 tadi tangosiya murambwi vasvika 2030 tinoziva vakati ivo kana ndapedzawo temi ino ndonozorora nekuti ndo zviri muconstitution aiwa hatizvirambe ndo zvavakataura segweta vaka ndo zviri muconstitution asi kaconstitution imwe cheteyo ine chinonzi freedom of expression inotibvumirawo kutaura zvatinofunga isu sevanhu vakavasarudza tiri kuti aiwa murambwi madima mboendera mberi tione Vision 2030.
ZANU-PF National Political Commissar Comrade Nyaradzi Machacha promised to convey the province's resolutions to the ruling party's leadership.
Anzwa zvataurwa pano na chairman nemaligi ese nemaslogan aitwa ndikakumbirwa na chairman kuti nditakure mashoko okuti MaCentral iri kukumbira kuti vakuru president vedu dei vakwanisa kuti vasvike 2030 vapedzise vision yavo. Saka ndichatakurawo shoko iroro sekuuya kwaraita.
ZANU-PF Politburo member Comrade Kenneth Musani commended the prevailing unity of purpose in the ruling party.
Ngatirambe takabatana as National and Central.
Delegates who attended the provincial interdistrict meeting were also briefed on the ongoing cell restructuring program. The recommendation for President Mnangagwa to lead the nation until 2030 comes after he announced last month that in respect of the constitution of the party and that of the country, he will step down at the end of his second term in 2028. Tapiwa Machemedze, ZBC News, Bindura.
And now, meanwhile, the ZANU-PF Youth League in Manicaland Province has recommended that President Emmerson Mnangagwa continues to lead until 2030 in order to consolidate the gains of the development trajectory which the country has taken.
Youth from across Manicaland Province who attended a provincial youth inter-district meeting in Rusape this Saturday unanimously highlighted that the massive developmental works taking place in the country should be the rallying point for President Emmerson Mnangagwa to avail himself as the country's leader until 2030.
Mayuth ekuno kuManicaland tatenderana netawirirana kuti baba Mnangagwa ngaomboende mberi wapedzise basa iri. Ana vechidiki tikuwaniswa minda tikuita maprojects akawanda ari kuya through baba Mnangagwa. So tikuti wa Mnangagwa varamba vachitonga kusvika vision yavo yazadziswa ya 2030.
Kuno kumaConsentro kune zvinhu zvakanaka zvakaitwa naPresident Mnangagwa. Saka tinoda kuvatenda maboards, maschools ane macomputers, maroads. Tinongoti president vedu dai varamba varipo vapedzisa the vision 2030.
ZANU-PF National Deputy Secretary Comrade John Paradza say they are in support of the recommendations by the youth.
Taona migwagwa ichitanga kugadzikwa, taona zvipatara zvitanga kuvakwa, taona madhamu achitanga kuvakwa. Izvozvo zvinotaura kuti tina president vakatumwa naJehovha kuti vazotisvitsa kunyika yeKenani. Ndikafara ini kuti ndanzwa muchiti imi kuno kuManicaland Province muri kuti 2030 baba vaMnangagwa vanenge vachitonga. Saka ndinoda kuti ndikutendei asi ndichikuudzaiwo kuti zvamuri kufunga imi kuno ndo zvatiri kufungawo kuti zvakanakira nyika.
ZANU-PF National Secretary for Youth Affairs Comrade Tinoma Chakaire commended the youth for pledging unwavering support to President Mnangagwa, saying loyalty to the leadership is critical for the success of the party and government.
Iwe kana iwe uri pachigaro pauri ipapo ukaona ukuru hwakusarudza kana kuti vanhu vakuvhotera usatengese, ramba wakamira pachigaro chipi chocho. Loyalty. Saka 2030 yamuri kutaura ndiri kutoitsigira nekuti ndo baba vangu vakandisarudza kuti ndinge ndiri zvandiri nhasi.
The recommendations for President Mnangagwa to lead the nation until 2030 are being made after he announced last month that he will step down at the end of his second term in 2028. Manicaland Province is the latest province to recommend President Mnangagwa's term to be extended to 2030 after various provinces, including Masvingo, Midlands, Mashonaland East, Bulawayo, Matabeleland North and Mashonaland Central, took the lead in making similar recommendations. Kenya's Chifuje, ZBC News, Rusape.
The ZANU-PF Harare Province Youth League has also requested that President Emmerson Mnangagwa avails himself as Zimbabwe's leader until 2030 so that he continues with the development that is being witnessed across the country.
The ZANU-PF Harare Provincial Youth League convened an inter-district meeting at the party headquarters in Harare, where they highlighted several infrastructural developments being undertaken by the Second Republic, hence recommending that remains the country's leader until 2030.
Isisu se Harare Province Youth League, Chef, takaita ma-resolutions, nekuti takuyenda ku-Youth Assembly yedu. Saka takakunyorerai zvese zvatinofunga kuti izvi zvinoita kuti vechidiki vave neremangwana rakanaka.
saka chekutanga chatikukuudzai pano tikuda kukutumai muende munoudza purezidenti kuti vana vekuharare province vari kuti vamunangagwa nekuda kwebasa ramuri kubata tiri kuti 2030 munenge muchitonga nepurezidenti.
ZANU-PF National Secretary for Youth Affairs, Honorable Tinoma Chakaire, said they will convey the message of the youth to the party leadership.
Tiri muno muHarare province matanga tikusangana nevechidiki tichiprepare our National Youth Assembly ichange iriko musi wechitatu sondo ratiri kupinda rino iri. Asi chandifadza ndechekuti mayouth ese atasangana nawo varatidza mufaro wakanyanyisisa nekuti ivo vane zvishuviro zvavo zvavari kutarisira. Vari kutenda zvakanyanya nebasa riri kuitwa navamunangagwa His Excellency the President nebasa riri kuitwa muHarare in terms of development. Mukatarisa migwagwa iri kugadzirwa, vana vari kufara, vari kuti Your Excellency tiri kufara nezvamuri kuita. Dai zvaramba zvichienderera mberi, varamba vachisimudzira nekuvandudza kusimudzira Harare. Zvakare vane zvichemo zvavo zvavapira zvatichazotakura tichienda nazvo kune mutungamiriri wenyika. Saka ndoda kutenda zuva ranhasi vauya neuwandu hwavo.
Other provinces such as Manicaland, Mashonaland Central, Bulawayo, Mashonaland East, Masvingo and Matabeleland North have already made similar recommendations, which come after President Mnangagwa announced early last month that he will step down at the expiry of his second term in line with the country's constitution. John Nandara, ZBC News, Harare.
Now, as the countdown to the 44th ordinary session of the SADC Summit of Heads of State and Government continues, the ZBC News crew conducted a snap survey of what the public know about the regional grouping. Let's take a listen.
As the nation prepares to host the 44th SADC Heads of State and Government Summit this month, we spoke with members of the public to find out if they have a clear understanding of SADC and its member states.
SADC mubatanidzwe wenyika dziri kuSouthern Africa, Southern African countries.
Tongozoti nyika dzakabatana pamwe chete dzemuSouthern African region.
Ngonzwa kuti dzine mapresident mune dzimwe nyika emuSADC ari kuuya muno muZimbabwe.
Zori out Southern African Development Communities. Mune 16 countries.
Southern African Development Community, but I just know a few countries dziri muSADC. Na Zimbabwe, Botswana, South Africa, Zambia, the DRC, Mozambique.
Interestingly, some were unfamiliar with the subject.
Throughout Southern Africa conference.
It's about keeping our city clean.
Akunzwa zita zvikunzi kune SADC ndakanzwa hangu zita asi kuzoziva kuti zvizvi zvinhu zvichiitika zvizvi zvinhu zvichiitwa asi andambosangana nazvo.
The Southern African Development Community is a regional bloc comprising 16 member states, namely Angola, Botswana, Comoros, Democratic Republic of Congo, Eswatini, Lesotho, Madagascar, Malawi, Mauritius, Mozambique, Namibia, Seychelles, South Africa, Tanzania, Zambia and Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe is set to host the 44th SADC Summit on the 17th of this month, running under the theme Promoting Innovation to Unlock Opportunities for Sustained Economic Growth and Development towards an Industrialized SADC. The prestigious event also provides a platform for shaping Southern Africa's future through policy direction and control.
During the 44th SADC Summit, His Excellency President Emmerson Mnangagwa will assume the chairmanship of the regional bloc. Festus Mkongurutse, ZBC News, Harare.
The Ministry of Primary and Secondary Education has honored the First Lady, Dr. Auxilia Mnangagwa, for her unwavering commitment towards the preservation of the country's cultural heritage.
The First Lady, Dr. Auxilia Mnangagwa, has been honored by the Ministry of Primary and Secondary Education for her steady efforts in molding young ones into responsible people through her initiatives such as Gota Nanga Ithiva and career guidance. The Minister of Primary and Secondary Education, Honorable Torerai Moyo, who presented a certificate of recognition to Amai, also announced that Dr. Mnangagwa is now the patron of culture and heritage during her stay in school, career guidance and drug awareness program at Binga High School in Binga district of Matabeleland North Province. Amai was also presented with a cultural bronze portrait highlighting the commendable work she is doing with learners throughout the country. Amai, an empowerment champion, roped in the services of different professionals to help mentor thousands of learners on making responsible choices, curbing drug abuse, early child marriages, with an aim to impart a positive mindset in the younger generation. The program brought together learners from rural and urban schools, from primary level to advanced level from Matabeleland North Province. Imploring students to focus on education and building sustainable careers, Dr. Mnangagwa highlighted the comprehensive program which helps learners make informed choices about their future.
Education is the foundation upon which you will build your future. It is the key that unlocks countless opportunities and empowers you to achieve your dreams. Staying in school is not just about acquiring knowledge, it is about developing your critical thinking skills, learning to solve problems, and preparing yourself for the challenges of the world. No matter how difficult the journey may seem, remember that every lesson learned and every exam passed brings you one step closer to your goals. Stay focused, stay committed, and never underestimate the power of education. The professional world is undergoing significant transformation, primarily due to technological innovations. These changes are rendering many traditional occupations obsolete. On the other hand, new jobs and forms of employment are emerging, including roles such as drone operators, robotic technicians, data scientists, and analysts.
Amai also took time to address some vices being perpetrated by children, including drug abuse, premarital sex, and unwanted pregnancies, which are hindering them from achieving their dreams.
As you navigate through your teenage years, you will face many choices and temptations. One of the most important decisions you can make is to practice abstinence. Abstinence is not just about saying no to certain activities. It is about saying yes to your future. It is about protecting your health, your dreams, and your potential. By choosing abstinence, you are making a commitment to yourself and your future, ensuring that you remain on the path to achieving your goals. The dangers of drug use cannot be overstated. Drugs can derail your dreams, damage your health, and destroy your future. They offer nothing but false promises and temporary escapes. I urge you to stay away from drugs and to seek healthy ways to cope with stress and challenges. Surround yourself with positive influences. Engage in activities that bring you personal development, and always remember that your future is too valuable to risk. Lastly,
the learners were allowed to ask questions during a lively interactive session which left them motivated and inspired.
We take to be a drone pilot, and the requirements and the subjects, and are there any funds against being a drone pilot?
A drone is sort of like an extension of you becoming a pilot. Now you are flying a vessel, or you're flying that vehicle which is not manned. You are the one who's flying it, but from afar now.
I was very inspired by Nembe, who's a journalist. So I think with my subjects, and as soon as I finish my A-level, she also mentioned that you can as well get her phone number. So I think I must see her. I want to be a journalist, so that maybe one day I'll be very close to you. Am I
going to be your mentor from today onwards? I think the journey starts here. Now ufuna a good journalist as umama ekhuluma lapha. Kumele ube ngumuntu okhuluma iqiniso. Njalo mina ngokwami ngibhala istory ezikhuluma ngendaba zabantu.
With the speakers from different professions, including the uniformed forces, medical field, and aviation, sharing their life stories, youngsters were left armed with vast knowledge on what different professions entail.
Becoming a doctor requires years of dedication and hard work.
including undergraduate trainings, medical school applications, licensing exams, and internships.
Ukuze ube ngudokotela wezinyamazana umele ukuthi ma uqeda i-O-level yakho vele umejor kuma-sciences ma ufuna ngudokotela. Maths, physics, biology, chemistry, yikho lapho umele umeje khona.
Uniformed forces like the police and army were part of the professionals who helped learners to better understand career opportunities available in the defense sector. The Minister of State for Provincial Affairs and Devolution, Honorable Richard Moyo, and Minister of Primary and Secondary Education, Honorable Torirai Moyo, also spoke glowingly of the First Lady's endeavors, which are transforming the lives of many across the country.
We want to thank you, Amai, most profusely, and also the goods that you brought for us. The school feeding program. We are blessed as Binga, we are blessed as Zimbabwe to have our First Lady who is ever busy. We want to pray, Amai, for your good health, Amai. Well done to our ministry. You have done a lot in terms of collaborating the efforts of your foundation with what we are doing, and we saw it befitting to award you patron of culture.
The First Lady also donated sanitary ware to girls, mealie meal and rice for Matabeleland North School's feeding program. The First Lady's National Career Guidance Grooming Program exposes the young generation to existing possibilities of a normal and progressive life where successful careers are possible regardless of humble beginnings. Tichaona Kurewa, ZBC News, Binga.
And now from the capital, it's now time for us to cross over to our Montreux studio where Marilyn Gwenya is on standby to take us on. Marilyn, good evening, and it's now over to you.
Good evening, and it's always a pleasure to you, Leanne and Yvonne. In our following report, a church service has been held in Bulawayo for the late national hero, Comrade Maketi Ndebele, who will be buried at the National Heroes Eka tomorrow.
Those who worked with the late national hero Comrade Maketi Ndebele have described him as a committed, dependable and trusted revolutionary who distinguished himself as a true patriot during the War of Liberation and after independence. In an interview on the sidelines of a church service at his home in Country Park, Bulawayo this Sunday afternoon, the national hero's colleagues, who included war veterans, said Comrade Ndebele stood firm and unshaken even in most difficult times of the struggle.
Mina igroup yabatrainayo mina yayinjiye eKhongwa isiya eMurogoro. Instead mina ngisayanga eMurogoro ngathi sengisuka ngakuye Lusaka sengizacapha ngesipolilo.
Wayeseqhamuka kwesibili ngoba ubaba ulokuza uJack walimala empini eLomangeni. He's one of the most senior cadres. I work with him. Lowa mina ngangudepend department NSO. But we used to liaise because I was deputy director of NSO labo Tabeng. So sasebenza kuhle kakhulu njalo wayeyindoda eyayithanda umsebenzi wayo. Indoda eyayithule ile forecast, ile vision, what is expected in a new dispensation yeZimbabwe.
Umpofu lo oleleyo ube ngucommander waleyo nkamba. So ngathi umpofu wangenza transformation from a civilian into a military man. Yayiyindoda ekhululekileyo.
Nasisebenze okulutshwana okuningi wazisebenzela uJack esaphila. Akula umuntu ongadlulanga ezandleni zakhe. Sinjenje sadlula kizo izandla zakhe lanxa mina enganitrenanga kodwa watrena abanye abanitrenayo. Okuthi ukuthi umuntu ozaqala ekhunjulwa ngabalweli benkululeko bonke. Kungayisiko ukuthi uyakhunjula luhlangothi olulodwa, uzakhunjula zinhlangothi zonke zalweli ilizwe leli njengomuntu owayengucommander oqotho.
Sithanda ukubonga kumongameli ngesicoco asinike ubaba uMpofu.
Abafuna ukuthi bazibone.
He deserved this. Siyabonga. Siyabonga eZimbabwe, siyabonga kumongameli.
The call to action to build the national economy to achieve an upper middle income society status by 2030 is finding takers, with a Mondoro-based woman becoming a shining example in maximum utilization of land.
Roughly 70 kilometers from Harare in Mondoro, Mubaira, is the homestead of a 60-year-old pig farmer, Letwina Nyagano, who has managed to grow a farming enterprise from just 3 pigs to over 1,500. She has also managed to rope in the community, being a beneficiary of the presidential pig scheme, and to date she's averaging over 30 students per month who are learning from her experience.
Presidential person emapiglets ndakapiwa mapiglets ndikabva ndatengesa ndichibva ndavaka this block, but ndichitanga kutraina vanhu tuiko zvinoenda kutraina 60 per month, vamwe vese vachibva kune dzimwe nyika dzakatenderera, ndichikwidza flag yeZimbabwe pamusoro. Government yazviona izvozvo yakaappreciate zvandiri kuita, it's very supportive. Iko zvino ndakapiwa mixer yokumikisa chikafu iyo, iko zvino ndakapiwa 15 hectares dzekuti ndivake college. So inini pa 2030 apa contribution yangu is to empower other farmers, mainly youth and women.
The decorated farmer has become a symbol of farming excellence in her community, drawing students from across the country and beyond.
Our government is an inclusive government. It doesn't leave anybody behind. If you see an opportunity, if you grab it, they will support you. And with Vision 2030 in mind, I am sure and positive that with women, with the zeal and energy that we have at this age, by the time we turn 60 like she has, 2030 is ours and we will conquer. I'm a proudly Zimbabwean staying in South Africa, but I traveled all the way back here, home, knowing that this is where I get my knowledge, which is power, so that when I have that vast knowledge, we can do export from Zimbabwe to other countries.
Inini zvichandibatsira kuti pandinodzokera kwaRusape ndinokurudzirawo vamwe vangu nezvavanenge vachiona ndichiita pabhizinesi rangu renguruve, ndichicreatazve opportunities for other women and my youth.
Government under the Rural Development 8.0 model is advancing agricultural activities across the country, with women empowerment being one of the key priorities in ensuring food security towards the fulfillment of Vision 2030 under the agricultural cluster. Tamuka Charakupa, ZBC News, Norton.
I'm an African feature is coming up next. A Kenyan icon whose impact transcended borders, Dr. Wangari Maathai, is one of Africa's internationally acclaimed environmentalists, respected for transforming barren landscapes by planting seeds of change in communities. In our I'm an African feature for tonight, we celebrate an African environmental champion, Dr. Wangari Maathai.
More than just an environmentalist, Dr. Wangari Maathai was a social activist who dared to challenge the status quo on women empowerment. Born in 1940 as a young woman in rural Kenya, Dr. Maathai defied odds and traditional expectations by pursuing education, becoming the first woman in Eastern Central Africa to earn a doctorate in veterinary anatomy. This opened doors for her to another continent, the United States of America, where dreams were realized, and her journey began as an environmentalist, having witnessed firsthand devastating effects of deforestation. Returning home to Africa, Dr. Maathai saw a similar story unfolding, with rampant deforestation leading to declining agricultural yields and worsening poverty, whose impact hit the most on women and children. She then founded the Green Belt movement, training rural women to plant trees with the hope to give them greater control over their lives. For each tree that survived outside the nursery, planters earned a few cents and a measure of economic independence. To date, the Green Belt movement has since planted over 45 million trees around Kenya, and Dr. Maathai's work has inspired the United Nations Billion Tree Campaign, which has planted more than 11 billion trees since 2006.
Another vital strand in her life was the creation of global environmental organizations, in particular the United Nations Environment Programme UNEP in 1972. With its headquarters situated in the Kenyan capital Nairobi, Dr. Wangari is one of the first people from the developing world adopted into the UNEP family, which meant global exposure and relatively huge influence. The Greenbelt philosophy spread to other countries where the ecological and economic need was even more pressing, with environmental degradation having put huge pressure on forests and the wildlife. This would all lead to a Nobel Peace Prize in 2004, the first time it had gone to an African woman, and arguably the first Green Nobel for her work in promoting environmental stewardship, empowering women, and peaceful resistance to violence. The United Nations Initiative on Reducing Emissions from Deforestation and Forest Degradation, the linking of biodiversity to livelihoods, moves to strengthen the rule of law. The UN Initiative on Reducing Emissions from Deforestation and Forest Degradation, the linking of biodiversity to livelihoods, moves to strengthen the rule of law as a prerequisite for environmental health and the notion that communities should gain when the natural resources they maintain are exploited. All these, in part, trace their roots back to Dr. Wangari Maathai and the Greenbelt movement. Dr. Wangari Maathai died on the 25th of September 2011 after battling cancer.
The environment is not really an issue for tomorrow. The environment is everyday issue. It's the air we breathe, it's the water we drink, it's the food we eat, and we can't live without these things.
And our Sunday edition is off to a break. Do stick around for more coming through from Pocket Hill Studios in Harare, where Lien and Yvonne are on standby.
This is the currency we've been waiting for. A currency that's not just paper and coins, but a symbol of Zimbabwe's rich resources and stability. That's Zimbabwe Gold. This is ZIG. Let's dive into what makes ZIG not just a new currency, but a new beginning for Zimbabwe's economy. ZIG is born out of a blend of traditional and innovative financial wisdom, anchored in gold and precious metals, along with foreign currency reserves. This backing isn't just for show. It's a promise of stability and trust, ensuring that ZIG's value is as solid as the gold it's pegged to. From the bustling markets of Harare to the serene landscapes of rural Zimbabwe, ZIG is set to become the medium of exchange that's both reliable and accessible, with denominations ranging from ZIG 200 to ZIG 1 and even handy coins. It caters to every transaction, big or small. Transitioning to ZIG is a breeze. It's all about inclusivity, ensuring no one is left behind in Zimbabwe's financial renaissance. ZIG doesn't walk alone. It co-circulates with other foreign currencies under Zimbabwe's multi-currency system, enriching our financial landscape. It's a legal tender that not only simplifies transactions, but also restores confidence in our economy, promising a future where stability and growth go hand in hand. So why ZIG? Because it's more than just money. It's a symbol of Zimbabwe's resilience, a step towards an economy where stability is the norm, and every Zimbabwean can look forward to a prosperous future. Welcome to the era of Zimbabwe Gold, where our currency is our pride.
A warm welcome back, and many thanks to Marilyn Gwenya. It's always a pleasure, Marilyn, seeing you from the other side of the screen. Taking it up now from the capital. In most African cultures, mountains are considered sacred, places where legends on highland spirits and gods reside. In our This and That feature tonight, our reporter Courage Bushe explores the myths and beliefs around Obukwa Mountain in Belengwa.
Bizarre claims and more than weird seasonal accounts are the cocktail of stories linked with Belengwa's Bukwa Mountain. Strange as it may seem, the mountain is regarded by some as a citadel of the gods of the land. The huge rock outcrop, which is located about 50 kilometers from the mining town of Zishavane, is believed to be a sacred mountain that is occasionally associated with a mysterious and spontaneous fire. It goes deeper as the custodians of the sacred mountain confirm that this signals the beginning of the rainy season.
Pane nguva yekuti rinopfungaira roga, rinopfuta moto roga. Saka toona kuti rinoera. Panongotsva gomo, mvura yemudenga todoziva kuti youya. Kana vanoenda mugomo vasina kuvika kuvakuru venzvimbo, gomo vanhu ivavo vanorasika.
Kana rikapfuta kunobva kwaita guti yonaya rodzimuka. Semaplaisi zvinoita gomo rinonzi munaka renjero.
Rikapfuta moto zvichireva kuti ko nzvimbo yose unoiona yakadai so unowana kuti moto wakona haudzimiki, maerero aro haudzimiki. Pamwe unowana pachiridzwa ngoma, pamwe mamai achihwa, zvingoitika saizvozvo zviri natural zvatoziva.
Komwe rinogona ngozvilaita roga, kana razvilaita mvura youya yozodzima yekuratidza kuti nguva yekurima yakwana.
As self-assured some are, so is the doubt among others whose views water down the sacredness of the mountain. Whether it is the Incas in Peru, the Aztecs in Mexico, or the locals in Bukwa, mountains have always been closely tied to the spiritual world. Courage Bushe, ZBC News, Zishavane.
And now, this is why I don't visit sacred mountains at all.
You shouldn't, Leanne. You shouldn't, because you talk too much. So you definitely disappear. I don't want to be reading about you on the news.
Go missing. I will not visit mountains. Taking us to Sunbiz up next.
Now, in business news, findings by the country's export promotion body, ZimTrade, indicate that agricultural equipment and processed foods are dominating Zimbabwe's export market share in Zambia.
The report released during the Zambia Agriculture and Commercial Show in Lusaka indicates that local companies into production of agricultural equipment and processed foods continue to find their footing in the Zambian market amid efforts to expand their footprint in the neighboring country. Commenting on the findings, ZimTrade client advisor Mr. Velile Dube said that the country should maximize on the production of agricultural implements and the processed goods.
Our FMCG is doing fairly well. Some of the brands are reputable and already within the shops locally in Zambia. We also have a very vibrant agricultural inputs sector, which has gotten a lot of traffic coming through. Day 1 and 2 were a bit slow, but we've seen a significant increase in the number of companies coming through to our pavilion. We also, as ZimTrade, have tried to spruce up the look of the pavilion in a quest to align with the theme, creating a competitive future. And we believe that Zimbabwe is competitive, and we are hopeful that these engagements will result in meaningful business transactions going forward.
With the country targeting a 10% annual growth in exports as reviewed by the National Development Strategy 1, diversification of export markets has been cited as an important element.
ZimTrade has facilitated these 27 companies. The idea behind it is to look for markets, to continue engagements with these companies and Zambia as a whole. We must note that this fair or show is not only about Zambia. It also incorporates other countries. We have several countries that have come. It's an international fair, and as such, Zimbabwe is out here to try and tap into that market. What we've learned is that Zimbabwean products are well received.
Exports continue to be the main driver over the country's foreign currency inflows that have since the past 2 years been hovering at above 10 billion United States dollars. Stanley James, ZBC News, Lusaka.
And now that's a cap in Sunburst. Taking up to science and tech up next. The Education 5.0 model has galvanized education institutions across the country to harness innovative ideas. Now, with students from Chirezi Government High School not being left out. In our science and technology feature tonight, we explore a prototype automated smart irrigation system designed by the students.
With Zimbabwe being an agro-based economy, the smart irrigation system designed by Chirezi Government High School Form 4 students is part of initiatives to incorporate computer science technologies in agriculture. The automated irrigation system makes life easy for irrigation farmers as it can work without any supervision and can operate using solar energy or electricity.
We have the Arduino board. It is a microprocessor chip which processes the code we insert into the Arduino board. We have the LCD for displaying the moisture contents of the soil. We have the breadboard which we use to connect all the components together of this system. The pump will be controlled by the relay module, and then this relay module is being controlled by the Arduino board. That is, if the moisture content is low, then the relay module is going to send electrons to the pump so that it will pump water to the field.
This LCD is going to display a message when the system is going to start. So if you look here closely, it's supposed to say irrigation system is on, as you can see here. And then after, yes, now the motor is on, as you can see. The pump is pumping water into the bed. So the moment this bed is waiting now for the moisture which is needed, this sensor is going to report back to this LCD saying that the moisture is mid or high. That data is going to be back in this Arduino board report to make the relay module stop the pump. So the moisture is saying it is high over here, as you can see, and the motor is off, and the motor, it is our pump. This system is mainly helpful to farmers in productivity, as it can irrigate the field without their presence.
Such innovations are in line with Education 5.0 model, which seeks to move the nation towards an innovation-led and knowledge-driven economy.
By doing this, we are responding to the call by the ministry to integrate theory and practical.
The Education 5.0 learning model has started bearing fruit as most education institutions have begun to articulate President Emerson Mnangagwa's call for technological development to drive the country towards an upper middle income society by 2030. Gaima Tambo, ZBC News, Chirezi.
Remember to catch more news on our website, that is www.zbcnews.co.zw. And as usual, special mention to those of you watching from our Facebook page, ZBC News Online. We're off to a break. Join us when we return with sport and more.
Zimbabwe will proudly host the 44th Ordinary SADC Summit of Heads of State and Government on August 17, 2024 in Harare. Preceding this landmark event are crucial meetings of SADC senior officials and the Council of Ministers setting the agenda for the summit. ZBC will cover all the action from these preparatory meetings to the summit itself across its TV, radio and digital platforms. Advertisers are encouraged to seize seize this significant opportunity to enhance their brand's visibility locally and regionally through tailored advertising packages during the SADC meetings and summit. For more details on advertising opportunities, please contact Mildred on 0712-831-177 or Wilson on 0775-902-040 or email sales@zbc.co.zw.
We're back with sport, where FC Platinum have failed to reclaim top spot in their Premier Soccer League after they were edged 1-0 by Caps United at Rufaro Stadium this Sunday.
William Manonto was the answer Caps United needed to break a 9-match winless run against FC Platinum as they overcame the Platinum Miners for the first time in 6 years this Sunday. Winless in the last 9 meetings, Caps United kept a clean sheet at Rufaro Stadium to deprive their rivals a chance to crawl back to the top of the PSL standings thanks to Manonto's 10th goal of the season. One of the most consistent strikers in the domestic league, Manonto netted a 37th minute goal for the Green Machine to go past Timon Machope and Kamabiliat on the Golden Boot charts after 22 rounds of matches. The result was good news for Simba Bora, who are at the summit of the league standings after a 1-0 win over Yada on Saturday. Elsewhere, Bulawayo Giants Islanders broke into the top 4 after beating Chegutu Pirates 2-1 to move past Manika Diamonds on goal difference. Nobile Ndlovu and Achford Faira struck in the first half to give Boso control of the match before Chegutu Pirates pulled one back deep in stoppage time to deny the visitors a clean sheet. Fading Giants Dynamos failed to hold on to an early lead as Bulawayo Chiefs fought back to collect a point in a 1-0 draw at Baba Fields. Arenal Movers could only get a point out of the Beito of the New Boys after a 0-0 draw with Pikita Minerals at Sakuva Stadium, while Tewan and Wange drew blanks and could not be separated at Bata Stadium. Reynaud Ngwarati, ZBC News.
And on a sad note, a former Mighty Warriors team manager, Tafadzwa Basera, has died.
A highly respected figure in the sport, Basera, who served as the team manager for the senior national women's team, the Mighty Warriors, for a year until 2021, died this Saturday in Harare at the age of 38. The football fraternity has described Basera as a dedicated and committed individual in football administration.
Yeah, football has lost a very loyal servant, and she is one of the rare breeds that rose, that had that phenomenal rise to leadership in football, and she really made a mark.
It's very sad to lose one of your own. You know, Tafatwa has saved the nation in football. She's served as a Mighty Warriors manager before, and also the CEO at Harare City. And during that time, Harare City was really at its peak, both in the men and women football.
Basera also served as the chief executive officer at Harare City. Meanwhile, tributes have started pouring in from players, coaches, and administrators who have taken to social media to express their grief. Anna Shimrombedzi, ZBC News, Harare.
May her soul rest in eternal peace. Now, the Air Force of Zimbabwe Commander's 21-kilometer half marathon has garnered significant support in the mission to combat the epidemic of drug and substance abuse.
The Commander Air Force of Zimbabwe half marathon held in Harare this Sunday continues to attract a growing number of participants with a call for the nation to desist from drug and substance abuse scourge. The event aligns with the principle of inclusivity demonstrated by the active participation of individuals with disabilities, the elderly and youths.
Vanhu vati kure semazere edu anaya unondoramba wechidonha asi kana wechimhanya audonhi kubva ipapo manje vana vachiri vechidiki avo zvinovabatsira kuti chero atadza kuchikoro akaita zvemasports unokwanisa kuzviraramisa futi.
Ndaita number 3 resi yenge yakanaka chaizvo asi kuti ndakunonoka kubuda mune vanhu vetsoka vatanga tichimhanya navo saka zvazopa kuti result yangu idzokei kumashure.
The race was tough, yeah, but I'm so excited. I managed to win and ndaita number 1. I really want to appreciate the Air Force of Zimbabwe and Msabunda for including us. Like we are running with the theme leave no place and no one behind.
Kokurudzira madzimai echidiki kuti uyai vanhu weti exercise machronic disease atame.
The AFZ Marathon has garnered significant support from partners, with Commander Air Force of Zimbabwe, Air Marshal John Jacob Mzwede, emphasizing the event's crucial role in combating drug and substance abuse.
It's an event that has been organized by the Air Force of Zimbabwe to raise funds and awareness, number 1, on drug abuse, and to raise funds of underprivileged. So the funds that are gathered or that are generated here, they'll be used for the underprivileged people.
This is the Air Force Commanders Marathon. That's 21-kilometer run. Yes. And this is very important, especially to the youth. One, because they keep fit, and also when they are busy here, psychologically, mentally, they will be upright, and also they will have to leave the issues of drugs and substance, which of course currently is very disturbing in the country. So here we will be encouraging the youth to come and participate so that they will be busy.
The Air Force of Zimbabwe Marathon is a prestigious annual event that unites participants from diverse backgrounds and all walks of life. Tarema Duyu, ZBC News, Harare.
Now to our entertainment segment into showbiz. Killer T's Kanandanyura hit remains the hottest track on the Power FM Top 40 chart show after once again claiming pole position this week. As the challenge continues on social media, the song Kanandanyura is still trending. For the 10th time since breaking into the chart show, Killer T's hit remains top. Top 10 with the song Muchuno joined the chart and claimed the second position. This week's highest climbers, Mawo Vets by Volt JT and Holly Ten's Madafela, moved 13 places in the positive, with Mawo Vets taking position 6 from 19 last week and Madafela sitting on number 22 from 35 the previous week. It was not a good week for Michael Magg's song Zembera, which dropped 18 places to number 36 from 18 the previous week. A collaborative effort titled Ndakwita by Tadex, Freeman, Michael Maggs, Trevor D, Chillmaster, Kelvin Mangena, and Mandy Awe was one of the newest entries this week. Fungai Jachi, ZBC News, Harare.
The star-studded lineup at Alec Macheso's album launch gave revelers a memorable time as they danced and sang along to their favorite tunes.
Alex Sports Club was where music enthusiasts gathered as they enjoyed an array of youthful artists who were supporting acts at Alec Macheso's 13th album launch. The Cheso Boys, Esau and Tatenda, were the first to perform, showing off the talent indeed runs in the family. Songstress Pelinandi did not disappoint. Endimrizo and Enzo Aishau understood the assignment. Saint Flo, Windsor, and the Chill Spot family equally lived up to the task.
Well, that's all we had for you tonight. Thank you for having joined us from Marilyn Gwenya and the Montrose crew. The crew behind the scenes, Susan Masona, Leon Bernard, and myself, Yvonne Mukandani.
Well, we'll leave you watching the video of the week, Sukai by Baba Harare, featuring Take Sure Zama. Good night.
Good night.